Before we begin, a small safety announcement. Your mind is not broken. It is worse than that. It is extremely functional. Thought built bridges, satellites, vaccines, passwords, elevators, tax forms, and little machines that tell you your soup is ready. Very impressive. Please clap for the nervous jelly with electricity in it. But then thought looked at fear, loneliness, jealousy, death, shame, status, desire, and the ancient basement smell of being a person. And it said, "Good news, I can fix this too." That is when the repairman arrived carrying a flamethrower. Because practical problems and psychological problems are not the same category. If your sink breaks, thought is useful. Measure the pipe, buy the part, turn the little metal thing, pretend you understand plumbing. But if the problem is, I am not enough, thought does something strange. First, it creates the sentence. Then it creates the image of someone who is enough. Then it creates the distance between you and that image. Then it sells you a 10-step plan to cross the distance it just invented. And now you have a self-improvement treadmill inside a burning office. This is the trap. Thought creates a psychological wound out of comparison, memory, and fear. Then thought opens a repair shop next door. The sign says, "Solutions." The small print says, "Powered by the original problem." You feel anxious, so thought says, "Let us think about the anxiety." Then it thinks about tomorrow, yesterday, your face in a photo from 2017, a message you sent too fast, a person who did not reply, your future failure, your possible success, and the exact shape of everyone else's imaginary judgment. Now the anxiety has furniture, it has wallpaper, it has a receptionist. And the mind says, "We are making progress." Are we? Or did thought create a maze, print a map, charge admission, and then get lost with you inside it? That is the question. Can thought solve the problems that thought has created? Or is thought the employee of the month at the factory that manufactures the emergency? Let us visit the self. Not the spiritual self, not the inspirational poster self, the ordinary self. The one with a password reset problem, a snack opinion, and 3 unfinished versions of a better life. In our lab, the self looks like a customer support department under fluorescent lights. Every desk has a complaint ticket. Ticket 1. I should be more successful. Ticket 2. I should be calmer. Ticket 3. I should be loved in a way that fixes childhood, capitalism, and my haircut. Ticket 4. I have compared myself to a stranger on the internet and now require emergency meaning. Thought walks in with a clipboard. It says, "Do not worry, I will investigate." But thought is not neutral. Thought is memory wearing a badge. It checks the past, projects a future, measures the distance, and creates the little manager called me. The me says, "I am jealous." Then another part of thought says, "I should not be jealous." Now there are 2 of you, one jealous, one judging the jealousy. Congratulations, inner conflict has been successfully installed. The same thing happens with fear. There is fear. Then thought says, "I am afraid." Then thought says, "I must not be afraid." Then thought says, "Why am I like this?" Then thought opens 12 tabs, buys a book, names the wound, diagnoses the personality, and schedules a rebrand. The fear is still there, but now it has branding. This is why the self can feel so exhausting. It is not one thing. It is a committee of memories arguing in a room with no windows. One memory wants revenge, one wants approval, one wants to be pure, one wants to be desired, one wants to disappear but in a way that gets noticed. And thought calls this my identity. But what if the thinker is not separate from the thinking? What if the manager is made of the paperwork? What if the observer watching the mess is also part of the mess? then the usual solution gets suspicious. Because when thought says, "I will fix myself," maybe it is like a spam email offering cybersecurity. The self becomes a customer complaint that must never be closed. Because if the complaint closes, the whole department loses funding.
So what do we do? Careful.
This is where thought puts on a little meditation hat and tries to become the hero again. It says, "Excellent, I understand. The solution is to stop thinking." No. That is thought turning anti-thought into a new project. Now you are thinking about not thinking. The repairman has changed uniforms, but the gasoline smell remains. This is not about destroying thought. If you need to drive, cook, build, pay rent, open a door, remember a name, or avoid drinking from a bottle labeled industrial solvent, please use thought. Thought has a job. The question is whether thought should run the whole country. Maybe the beginning is not another solution. Maybe the beginning is seeing the mechanism clearly. A thought appears. I am not enough. Usually the machine starts immediately. Compare, explain, escape, improve, perform, become. But what happens if for one strange second the thought is simply seen? Not obeyed, not attacked, not turned into content, just seen. There is the sentence. There is the body tightening. There is memory arriving with documents. There is the future projection setting up a PowerPoint. There is the little me trying to take control. And maybe, in that seeing, the machine loses some of its authority. Because the problem was not waiting for a better answer. The problem was being fed by the search for one. This is the uncomfortable part. Some psychological problems are not solved like broken chairs. They are understood like traps. You do not repair the trap from inside by decorating it with better thoughts. You see the trap. You see the bait. You see the hand reaching for the bait. You see that the hand is also part of the trap. And then something quiet happens. Not magical, not marketable, terrible for apps. For a moment, the mind is not improving itself. It is not becoming. It is not negotiating with its own shadow. It is simply awake to what it is doing. So can thought solve the problems that thought has created? For practical life, yes. For the inner maze, maybe the deepest intelligence is not more thinking. Maybe it is seeing so clearly that the maze stops being mistaken for home.